Welcome back to Untamed Social. I'm Rachel.
I'm Jess.
I'm really excited about our topic today because, well, I am sort of a Gen X, and
I'm a Gen Z.
there's no mistaking you.
Yeah, I
the,
feel like
the,
it's very clear.
Depending on who you ask, I am a millennial or I am um, a Gen X. I'm right on that line. I was born in 1981, but there's debates between 1971, 1981, if like you're a Gen X or you are a millennial. I don't know. I don't really care. I know I don't identify as a Gen Z though, so this is a great
Yeah.
topic. So I think we could start out kind of talking about how it sort of shaped our personal values, maybe, and our social media habits. Obviously, for me, I didn't have social media. It was like maybe I was 16 or 17, the internet even. Like, it came about and we had dial up and it took forever. And I remember even when I was in college, like, I did my first paper and it took like 5 minutes for the internet to dial up just so I could start typing. So it's still a little new for me, getting used to that, not having it most of my life.
Yeah, and for me, I really grew up on it. I mean, I did have dial up. I remember having a family computer in the living room. I never really got on the internet too much. I would usually just play Sims on the computer. But I did grow up with like video games and like being online like that. So I did have that type of interaction. Whereas for most of your childhood, you probably didn't have that. So I feel like as the internet has gotten better and gotten more, I've just gotten older and learned and grew with it as it grew.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that kind of impacts how it's played in our lives and our values. I mean, like when I was a kid, we had to do things to keep ourselves busy then, So like I'd go out and play in the backyard and make mud pies with my little brother. We had like four stations growing up. I lived out in the country, so like we didn't have a lot of those things too. Plus, we didn't have the internet, so it was really boring childhood.
Yeah,
So it was kind
yeah.
of like a really huge stimulation for me when I got to college and there's internet and there's like lots of TV stations. So it was kind of almost information overwhelm. And it's funny because I kind of had a fear of missing out ever since.
Yeah, I get that. I really kind of grew up the same way. I lived in the country and I would play in the mud with my cousins and all that. But I did get on Facebook whenever I was like 11, 12 years old. And looking back, I was like, oh, I'm such a grown up. Like, I belong on this platform. And now, being 24, 12 years later, I'm like, my parents should have never let a 12-year-old be on Facebook. And honestly, they monitored me very well. I remember one time whenever I was little, because when you're little, you don't realize like what you post on the internet means something or like who can actually see it. And I
Right,
posted
right.
something about how my parents were so mean. And then my parents called me over the next night or something and they were like, "Why did you post this?" And I'm like, "How did you see that? How'd you know?" One of my cousins told them. And
Mm,
so I learned from then on, no matter what you post on the internet, people see it.
mm-hmm.
And I never posted anything about my parents or anybody else ever again on the internet because I was scared.
The irony, though, is that from my perspective, you have such a great relationship with your parents. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love them. They're my best friends.
funny how you learned at 12, like you can't say bad things about your parents online.
Yeah, honestly, I have nothing bad to say about them now. It's just like they made me mad one day, and I was like, you know what?
Oh man, and I was just getting the first like real social media site that I got was Facebook. Like aside from like what was it called? Like the IM thing that you had, like that little chat thing. But I got Facebook, and that was like in 2009. It's ironic because I started my business in 2010. So what did I know about social media? Not much. But that was just it. Was like just like learning my way around on Facebook and trying to figure out what was what. I don't know how it shaped anything really, but I thought it was cool to connect with people on Facebook. People that like maybe I never even talked to in high school, but I'm like, oh, I remember them. And I went to a small school, so, I graduated with class of 87. It's pretty cool when you can connect with them online after the fact. We didn't have like a lot of class reunions. I can only recall one. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that. And that to me, that connectedness, that was just something that always stuck with me. So I do believe I'm in the right field. I think I ended up in the right place as far as my career goes.
Yeah. Something that you said was really fascinating to me is that it was interesting for you because you were able to connect with people and you felt like it didn't really affect you too much, just like that was a pro. But for me, I feel like that affected the way that I communicate with people. I used to be hardcore texter. I never liked calling. The only people that I really would call whenever I was younger and even like into my teen years in college and stuff were my parents and then family members like my aunts, my pap, my grandparents, like don't really text. But everyone else, like my friends, school members, everybody, I texted them. We communicated through Facebook chat or through Instagram DM, whatever it was, that we texted through social media. And that affected the way that I would call people. And I feel like maybe a lot of younger viewers can relate to this. But I feel like calling became a scary thing to do. Like calling people that you weren't close with, at least. Mm-hmm. Like if I had to call the doctor, if I had to call somebody new about something, it was just like a scary thing for me because I was so used to being online and texting with these people, not having to actually use my voice. Mm-hmm. But through the years, and as I get older, I definitely rely more on calling now. That isn't to say, like, I'm up for calling all the time. I definitely like to have text messages whenever I really need to think out what I'm saying and who I'm talking to. But whenever it's like my friends and I'm just calling to see what they're doing, I love to call them, not text them, because I get an immediate response whenever I call them. But with texting, you kind of have to wait to get a response.
Yeah. I've been around a lot longer, and I still hate phone calls. So I'm with you. When I see somebody that's calling me when they could have sent a text, I'm like, what do they want? Or they could have, when I send an email and they call me instead, I'm like, why? So I understand. And it's really funny you say that because when I was in college, and this was before like the internet was like really, really huge and social media was huge. This was like maybe 2003. I wrote a paper in my media class, and it was about how we use media, and my professor highlighted something that I said in the class, and it was about how I liked using instant messenger because I could say things on instant messenger that I wouldn't say in person, and I don't know why he highlighted that to my class, and I felt like a nerd, but it kind of stuck with me as sort of my MO. Not saying that I wouldn't say those things in person, but I just felt more comfortable being behind the screen, I think. Being able to, I've been a writer, just that's just been who I've been, and I can express myself better that way. So it's not just somebody that's young. There are many more that are like you.
That's good to know.
So, do you think that go ahead.
I was going to say, so with social media evolving so much, it seems like we both sort of started on Facebook. Are there any platforms besides Facebook that you're like in love with today? Because I know specifically for me, when TikTok first came out, I wasn't sure about it, but now I absolutely love it, and I spend a little bit too much time on it, and that's definitely like my favorite app.
I would say Facebook is not actually my favorite anymore. I just get served a lot of ads that I really don't need and buy a lot of stuff that I really don't need. But I think I actually really do like Instagram. I like it's a lot cleaner in the interface and I can sort things a little better.
Do you watch Reels on Instagram?
You know what's funny? I can get really sucked in on both Facebook and Instagram Reels. Like I can't help myself. I'll see a cute little kitten dancing with like a dog, and then I get sucked into who knows what. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I should probably go to bed. So yes, I would say I like Reels.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way about TikTok. I literally, if I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like 2, 3 a.m., if I get on my phone and I get on TikTok, I literally will be there until 5 a.m. And
Yeah.
I've started to force myself not to touch my phone whenever I do that, because then I don't end up going back to sleep right away. And I'm like, I can't. I need to get away.
You're
But
the devil.
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. The apps that we love are the ones that we are so addicted to and can't pull ourselves away from.
I know, it's bad. I have to stop. And they know which ones to serve me next because I can't help myself. I'm into roller coasters and water parks, and somebody's always doing something crazy.
Something that I love about the algorithm is how well it knows you. For example, if I see something that I like and I actually like it, I end up seeing 5 more of it, and I'm sure that you are the same exact way. If you like a trend, you end up seeing like all the
Yep.
videos that have to do with that trend. And I just think that my cat. I just think I didn't want her getting in the video. I just think that they've gotten so much better at SEO and better at recognizing what you like and interact with on social media.
Yeah. And sometimes it's scary. But yes, they know how to keep you scrolling.
Yes, for
Uh,
sure.
so let's talk about like preferences for content for a minute. So, like, do you prefer posting sort of like casual, sort of off the cuff stuff, like whatever you're doing that day, or do you prefer more of the polished type of thing? Um, like, do you lean a certain way, like what's more authentic, or
Honestly, for me, it's both. I love to have like those meaningful posts, like my college graduation, like my birthdays and stuff like that. Like I feel like those are very meaningful posts. But I also love to have, like, I recently just posted my October pictures from October, and they were pretty like random pictures from my month. I love to take pictures of little things. Like I went to a garden in October. I took a picture of that. And I just love to have that sporadic content. But for a brand, I feel like it's better to keep things aesthetic and good looking.
yeah, I can agree with you there because, well, so for me, um, having a social media business, I feel like I'm always on display and I can't make mistakes and I can't just post something off the cuff. You know, I feel like I'm always going to be sort of judged on that. So I'm careful a little bit about what I post, especially on business pages. So that's very different. But my personal Instagram, I've gotten a little more lax with lately, and especially on stories. So, you know, when I'm in Jamaica, anything goes. Whenever I feel like posting there. If someone wants to unfollow me because I'm in Jamaica and I'm having a good time, like, they're probably not people I want to be connected to anyway.
Yeah,
But, like, what do you post on
exactly.
your business pages or whatever is a little different. But I've always been a little more polished in terms of what I post, only because I do feel like I'm held to a different standard.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it also matters what platforms and how
Yeah,
polished you are depending on the platforms. For
true.
example, TikTok I
Yeah.
think is pretty loosey goosey,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
Instagram I feel like is a good like in the middle. You can be funny, you can have those cute little sporadic posts, but then Facebook, at least for me, Facebook is like where most of my family members are. So I would never post anything that was like controversial or like something that they wouldn't like to see on there, even though,
Mm-hmm.
like, I would think it's fine. Like, say me
Yeah.
drinking out of a bottle of alcohol. I would never post that on
Yeah.
Facebook for the fact of my family's on there and stuff.
Yeah. I
It's
agree
okay
with
if
you
they know that
100%.
I drink, but yeah, you know what I
But
mean.
yeah, you
Yeah.
want to be appropriate. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because on TikTok, just about anything goes for me on my personal TikTok. Like, if you really want some unfiltered stuff,
Yeah.
have some fun there. But you know, it depends. Yeah, it definitely depends on the channel and what I post. Like on LinkedIn, obviously, you're getting a lot more professional looking atmosphere. So
Yeah.
good point there. So that brings me to another question. Do you think that like Gen Zs and Gen Xs, we have a different preference or we live in a certain way for sharing things about our lives? So there's the general idea that Gen Zs have more openness about sharing online, whereas Gen Xs have a preference toward boundaries, and certain things are too personal to share. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that I'm kind of going to talk about boomers a little bit too with this. I think that the day in the life trends and like come with me to do blah blah blah, those kind of trends on TikTok have really spread to other platforms, but they are also the thing that started this like openness for people to share their lives and share what they're doing every single
Yeah.
day. I have also seen what I eat in a day, what I drink in a day. Like, it has gotten to the point that we know what this influencer is doing every single second of her day.
Mm-hmm.
And I, to an extent, do not think that it's all real. I mean, you can't. You have to remember that whenever they set the camera up and they walk out the door, they have to walk back in to grab the camera. Like, everything that you see online is definitely curated and planned. And so to say that you're really seeing the truth of their life is a lie, I would think. Um, but I want to bring in boomers because I notice a lot of boomers on Facebook use Facebook as their diary. And I
Mm.
think sometimes the people that do that can even be more open than these influencers that are filming what
Hmm.
we think is most of their day.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like, do you ever see people, older people specifically, who maybe don't have that many people to call or talk to, so
Yeah.
all they have to do is go on Facebook? And so they write a lot of their lives on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a knowledge barrier or gap too, where they probably don't really know some of the things that they're posting or doing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that with just experience level and seeing what people are doing. They probably don't realize it too, how much they're sharing. But I will say that all of these things are kind of generalizations. Just looking at personalities, I'm more of an open person online, and I'm a Gen X, and I've shared a lot of very personal things online that many people would not. But I think it all comes down to context. I wouldn't just get on a platform and start spouting off about something without context. I wrote very controversial blog posts, very on very controversial topics, but they had context with them, and I think that makes a big difference. But I think your personality, I think, is generally speaking, is a little bit different. You're not going to put your whole life out there on social media, and that's okay. So I think it really comes down to personality and style more so than maybe just generation. I think that there's this generalization because your generation grew up with social media, so we're just going to throw everything out there. And I don't know that that's necessarily true because there's still a lot of people that are Gen Zs that aren't going to put their entire life on social media and probably don't even want to be on social media other than to lurk, like Ella, who's admitted that in our last podcast. Okay, so since we work in social media, do you feel like it's challenging to separate our work and personal lives online?
Honestly, I kind of combine mine, and I feel like maybe your answer will be the same because, like, we both post about Strella a lot. I'm very proud to work with Strella, and I'm very grateful. So I do share a lot of our social media stuff to my own page. I also share like a lot of achievements that I've had with Strella. Like whenever we went to Utah, I posted our entire trip on Facebook, and I've posted on stories. I literally have a highlight on my personal Instagram. It's a highlight that says Strella.
Oh.
And every time that we post something, I put it on my story and then I highlight it and put it in Strella. So I feel like I am one of those types of people where I'm okay with posting for social media. And I feel like you guys are okay with me doing that because, I mean, I'm not like I don't have a bad presence online. I'm not doing bad things online. So I'm not a risk flight to have being posted like, hey, I work here. I'm not a risk or anything. So I combine mine.
We appreciate that. Like, that's what you want. I mean, honestly, one of the things that we advocate for our businesses that we work with is like, have people in your company talking about you. They should be excited because this is what's going to get more people that want to work with you. So you, in terms of what you're doing, absolutely, and it makes me happy, of course. As far as me, I mean, my business is my brand. So like, not that everybody cares about my work, so I don't want to post about it all the time, nor do I want to talk about it all the time. But you know, who I am online is who I am in person, who I am in my business. But I may go a little bit further with who I am, maybe on TikTok on certain things, or on an Instagram story on certain things, and then maybe I would on like I said before, like on a LinkedIn post. So
I even was trying to get my masseuse. I went to her yesterday. I was like, you need a better social media? Let me know. I was trying to hype us up.
I love it. All right. Do you think it's there's a pressure to like be real online, like you know, how each of us interpret authenticity? As you as Gen Z, me as Gen X.
I think at one point, keeping it real was like, let me reword that. I think at one point, being too perfect was the expectation, but then it got to a point where people didn't like influencers that seemed out of touch and like, you're too perfect. There's no way that you don't make mistakes in life. Or maybe it would come out that they did make a mistake in life. And then people were like, you were lying to us. You're not this person that you told us online. And I think that recently, keeping it real has become so much more important and a more needed thing, a necessity for influencers. Like, they need to be real with their audience, or else their audience isn't going to trust them or want to watch them.
I agree. I mean, there are people I see online where I'm like, are you just here for PR, or what is your purpose? Because they're always doing something where it's like the humble brag, or something along that line, where it doesn't feel like anything real is happening here. They're just there to look good. And I can't connect to that. That doesn't resonate with me. It resonates with me when somebody is vulnerable. You know, I'm not saying that it needs to be like that all the time, but it resonates more with me when there is that sense of rawness. And you can sense the difference between people that are real and people that are just showcasing certain things online.
Yeah, I agree. I used to watch someone that would do unboxings and she would get free PR. And it got to a point where she had mountains of PR behind her. And when she was looking at them, she'd go, nice. Just like throw it off. I'm like, you don't even care what these brands are giving you at this point. Like, you're not grateful at this point. You're just doing it for a video, doing it for money. It was just, it got less real. It got less likable.
I just wonder when people are going to figure that out, and these people become exposed, because there are people I'm thinking of specifically in my mind. But that's another podcast for another day. All right. For a little bit of fun, I thought we could do generational slang quiz, where we could pick 5 or 8 slang terms, quiz each other on them. And for the reference, we do not know what slang terms we picked. I deliberately did not want to know because I have a habit of peeking and Googling. So who wants to go first?
I can go first. Do you want to do like one word at a time and we switch back and forth? Okay.
Yeah.
So my first word, and these are all words that I actually say.
Okay.
The first one's slay.
Slay. I'm going to say like crush it, like killing it.
Basically.
Okay.
Or like, yeah, slay, like you did good.
Okay. All right. Yay. Okay. Mine is chill pill.
Okay, yeah, like you need to calm down.
Yeah, helps you relax, like a chill pill. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one, I feel like you've probably heard me say multiple times. It's period.
Like, story over, end of sentence. No?
Yeah, sort of. Kind of like a confirmation. Like,
Okay.
a yes. Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
I feel like it could be used for that too. Like an ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a period is meant to end a sentence.
Yeah.
But like also like if you're like, yeah, I agree with that statement. Period. Like, yes, it's over.
Okay. I've heard angry women say that in the 80s and 90s, but I thought this was like a new one. So, okay. All right. I'm cooler than I thought. All right. Phone it in.
I've heard this before. Is this where like you ring it in, like kind of like we need to focus type thing?
Sort of, yes. It means like you do something with very little effort or enthusiasm. Like it's just mediocre. You just dialed it in, phoned it in. You know.
Okay. I've heard that before, but I've never really knew the true meaning.
Yeah, phoned it in. So you just did whatever. Okay.
Good one. Okay. This one I say a lot. It's I fear.
Okay. So I kind of look at that as like, I fear for this person who XYZ, like that kind of thing.
It's kind of like I'm scared to tell you.
Okay. Because I'm scared to ask. I'm scared. No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too hard off.
Yeah.
All right. That's all right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Flossing.
Flossing?
Flossing.
Is that like dancing?
No.
I've heard not Gen Z, but like younger generations have a dance called flossing. So, but I knew that's not what you meant. I don't know that one.
Flossing is more like you're kind of representing yourself the most attractive light. Like I drive a convertible, you know, I got bling and jewelry on, so I'm flossing. Yeah.
Oh, flexing.
Flossing.
Flossing. Oh,
Flossing.
okay. Oh, I thought flexing. I feel like is the same thing, and they sound very similar.
It might be. I might not know flexing, but it could be very, very well.
They sound very.
It could be the modern day flossing.
Yeah. The next one, it's actually from like old cartoony stuff, but it's made its way back around. It's womp womp.
Womp womp. That means you screwed up, or mic drop, right? No.
Well, yeah, I would say yes. It's kind of like you're wrong, you screwed up. Also, like someone says something that you don't like, and you say womp womp, like I don't care type thing.
Like buzzer, like wrong answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Like that. Yeah, womp womp. Okay. Props.
Props, like props to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like congratulations.
Yeah, like
sort
respect, like credit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This one is like a trend that's been recent on social media. It's very demure.
Oh, is that from Emily in Paris?
I don't know. Maybe they said it on there. I can't remember. I haven't watched the second part either, so I don't know.
It sounds very attractive,
demure.
but I have no idea.
It just means classy. Very demure, very classy.
Sounds attractive, classy. Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't too far off. All right, all right. As if.
Oh, I've heard, yeah, just like, yeah, right.
Right. So, like, okay, I'm really going to jog your brain here. Do you know who kind of coined the term or what movie it's from? You were
Is it
probably
Clueless?
born the year it came out.
Is it Clueless?
Yes!
I just watched Clueless the other day.
No way. Yes, share. Yes.
Yes, I love that movie.
All right, then. Okay. All right. Do you have any
Those
more?
were all of the ones those were all the ones I had.
All right. Okay, I'll give you one more.
Okay.
One more. Let's see. The bomb.
The Bomb.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
See? Not too bad for what?
We did really well for each
Yeah,
other.
Your
Yeah.
parents probably use the terms. I'm on social media.
Yeah. And I feel like the womp womp, some of those like have made their way back, or even are
Yes.
still being said. Yeah.
All right, so we'll wrap up here. What platforms or trends do you think are here to stay, or like what you do think is like going to cringe over time?
I think over time, Twitter is going to be definitely more used for a sports and like political area. Maybe some show like live tweeting, but for the most part, and adult entertainment. Adult entertainment is huge on TikTok or on Twitter. And I think that those like few niches are going to be what takes over. I feel like people don't go to Twitter anymore for like just casual life update type things. So I feel like Twitter is going to become less of an app.
Back in my day, you used to go to X for like actual updates. Like when you wanted real live like news broadcast updates, that was your source. Now it's just, I know of credible people who've just deleted the app and they're done.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to really decide on this one. And I'm going to take a different stance on this. I still stand behind rich content. All of these channels are still distribution platforms. I still stand behind blogs, podcasts, video content like YouTube or video series, because these are like more rich distribution sources, rich platforms. You know, they're not just going to be hanging out on these kind of sites that are owned by other places that can just get chopped and to bits and pieces and sold off and get rid of the next day. You want somewhere where you kind of have this longer form content that can have staying power. So my prediction is, well, it's not really a prediction, it's more of a recommendation. Use the staying power content because it's really the only thing that you have.
Yeah, great advice.
All right. Well, this was fun. Hey,
Yeah.
Gen X versus Gen Z, we have more in common than you think, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to the Untamed Social Podcast. Look for episode 10, our final episode of the season, coming up next.